FIFA 21, for the most part, is a fun game. But if you play Ultimate Team, chances are, you don't just play it for fun, you play it for the competition, and just like in every competition, there are winners and losers. The thrill of winning is unmatched, you feel like you're on top of the world, destroying opponent after opponent as you edge closer towards a solid rank in FUT Champions. However, on the flip side, the agony of defeat is maddening, especially if it's multiple defeats in a row. If you want to consistently avoid the agony of defeat in FIFA 21, there are certain things you can do to ensure you win far more games than you lose. By avoiding certain mistakes, you can increase your odds of winning, and ultimately get better results in FUT Champs. On that note, here's a look at 5 mistakes that could be holding you back from winning more games in FIFA 21. Actively pressing with your center backs. When an opponent breaks past your midfield, the most obvious course of action is to pull out your center backs to try and make a tackle, but just because it's the most obvious action to take, doesn't mean it's the best one. Sure, your center backs may be able to steal the ball, but there's also a chance that your opponent will dribble past them, or make a series of passes to evade them, and when this happens, your opponent will almost always find himself alone with your goalkeeper in a 1v1 situation. Trust us when we say, you definitely don't want that to happen. Instead of actively trying to press with your center backs, you're better off tracking back with one of your midfielders, while leaving your center backs rooted deep in their position, ready to jockey and steal the ball when your opponent approaches them. Making erratic passes in the midfield. A game of football is usually won or lost in the midfield, and in a similar vein, a game of FIFA is won or lost in the midfield. Unfortunately, many FIFA players treat the midfield like their opponent's 18-yard area. They attempt unnecessary skill moves and make risky passes, giving their opponents numerous opportunities to win the ball back. While building up play in the midfield, you should do your best to retain possession of the ball, at least until you make your way deep into your opponent's half of the pitch, in order to avoid giving the ball away and conceding a counterattack. Moving your goalkeeper too early. Moving your goalkeeper is a great way to avoid conceding goals, however, when you do it too early, you're pretty much paving the way for your opponents to score easy goals. Before you move your goalkeeper, wait for your opponent to get into a shooting position. This will allow you to have a better idea of where he will place the shot. Switching off after a lead. Far too many FIFA players switch off after they get a lead in a game. They reduce the pace of their play, they start making silly mistakes, and they stop trying to score with as much intensity as before. Doing these things can be extremely detrimental, because they offer an opponent the opportunity to launch a comeback. Every time you get a lead, make sure you maintain the same intensity until the latter stages of a game, when you're sure, beyond reasonable doubt, that you've eliminated every chance of a comeback. Unnecessary use of skill moves. Dribbling is fun. It's probably the most fun aspect of FIFA. However, when you perform too many skill moves, you risk losing the ball, and as you know, losing the ball puts you at risk of conceding a goal. As fun as it is to perform multiple skill moves, you should only use them when you have a clear opportunity to do so, especially if you're playing against a skilled opponent. Thanks for watching, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon.